This is the Fallout Show from Saturday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And that means there is always a significant amount of time spent recapping the pay-per-view and setting up for the next big show, SummerSlam. Two new Money in the Bank holders were able to lord their briefcases over the current champions. Rhea Ripley was an even bigger target for Io Sky due to the fact that she was booked to defend her women's world title against Natalya on tonight's show. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's edition of Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and streaming.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF, Michael Fletcher. We are perhaps awaiting the presence of the Phenom, Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we hope to have him back with us Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness. Monday Night Raw live tonight from the CFG Bank Arena, formerly the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland, one of the great wrestling venues of all time, a venue that has hosted numerous events, not just for WWE, but also for WCW, and heck, it even hosted AEW as well. So a great wrestling venue, to say the very least, that has housed so many memorable moments in the world of professional wrestling. Maybe not tonight, but it did house tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. And, you know, we officially start the road to SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. And without any further ado, let's start it off. There's only one way you can start it off, and that is with the World Heavyweight Champion himself, Seth freaking Rollins. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes, sir. But he was interrupted by the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And we're thinking, whoa, wait a minute. What is Cody doing here? But before, and you know, Cody was getting ready to do his infamous, well, what do you guys want to talk about bit. Before he could even get that out, enter Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar shows up. Cody and Brock brawl to the back. Then they go to a commercial break. Seth freaking Rollins is still in the ring. And he gets interrupted again, this time by the Judgment Day, minus Finn Balor. You had Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest. You had Dominic Mysterio and the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley. And you know, they had an exchange, and then it basically set up for tonight's main event. Seth freaking Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio, non-title match. This match is not for the World Heavyweight Championship. So, oh boy, a lot to make out of this. First, we got a tease for a title feud before we got an unannounced appearance from Brock Lesnar to set up a rematch against Cody Rhodes. All in all, pretty effective opening segment. And it feels like Seth Rollins just wants to see how long he can get each crowd to sing his song. He usually gets a solid 30 seconds out of them. So not really much to say on that. Michael Bullock has just joined us, but nothing to worry about. We haven't really dove into anything yet. So perfect timing on that end, Bullock. You know, the usual opening segments. So cookie cutter opening segment. That's all there was to say on that. And basically, it was lots of star power to start the show. Nobody actually said much, and that was obviously by design. But we all know where this is leading. Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam. We all know that. So with that, let's get into our first match of the evening, and I'm going to call this an MF special. And I call it an MF special because these are two men who good old MF Michael Fletcher knows very well, knows a lot more about both of these men than myself and Michael Bullock combined. As it was Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, along with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. He went up against Shinsuke Nakamura, and Damian Priest wins the match in roughly an even 10 minutes. A solid start to the show here. This is a good 3 stars, maybe 3.25. They picked up the pace and made the last couple of minutes the best part of the match, but most of this will be forgotten before the show is over. Both guys did a good job. They just didn't do enough to stand out here, which doesn't have to be the goal of every match. And the angle at which Nakamura landed on the barricade did not look fun. Rhea Ripley just oozes confidence. Even when she is just standing at ringside, you cannot help but notice her. And the way Dom reacted to Nakamura blowing Ripley a kiss was pretty funny. But solid 3, maybe 3.25 at the best. Solid start to the in-ring action here this evening. So not much more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. I called it an MF special. You know the resume of both of these guys very well. Shinsuke, obviously, in Japan. And, of course, Damian Priest back when he was known as Punisher Martinez. And I'm sure you definitely got some enjoyment out of this one, considering I called it an MF special, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, but this is actually a first-time matchup. Damian Priest has never faced off with Shinsuke Nakamura, even when they were in Ring of Honor. It was very rare that this has actually happened. So this was actually a first time. Nakamura, everybody knows the body of work of Nakamura. Everybody knows his greatness. Former IWGP Intercontinental Champion, one of the greatest IWGP Intercontinental Champions of all time. And then, of course, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion as well. Punisher Martinez, like you said, was a former Ring of Honor World Champion in his own right. And yeah, he was really well. So at the end of the day, Priest and Nakamura, solid match, 3 stars, total agreement, and yeah, nothing more to add. So Michael Bullock, it is yours.
Yeah, I'll give it about 3 stars for the effort here. I mean, this was a solid way to start off the matches portion. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more for me to add on to it. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, then we had another in-ring segment. Ronda Rousey immediately interrupted by Shayna Baszler, and then picking up after what happened at Money in the Bank that came out of absolute nowhere. None of us saw this coming. This was the first of those many surprises that we got at Money in the Bank this past Saturday. This was the first bomb that dropped when Shayna Baszler attacked Ronda Rousey and literally cost them the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships and opened the door for Raquel and Liv to regain the titles. But, I think it's obviously looking like we're probably going to get these two maybe at SummerSlam. I don't know. I'm hearing I read a dirt sheet earlier saying that that was one of the rumored matches for SummerSlam. So we'll see what happens if Detroit ends up getting that one. And then the women's tag team champions, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, came out because we had ourselves a tag team turmoil match to determine the first challengers for Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And in this match, we had Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus Kaden Carter and Katana Chance versus Dana Brooke and Tegan Nox versus Nikki Cross and Emma. The first match was Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green win the match in a minute and a half. Then we move on to the next match, as it was Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville versus Nikki Cross and Emma. And Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green win that match. 2 minutes and 25 seconds for that. And then the next match, it was Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Dana Brooke and Tegan Nox. And in approximately 5 minutes and 5 seconds, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green won that match. And then the next match, and then the final match, it was Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. And the winners of the match and the number one contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships in a total time of 11 minutes and 55 seconds, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. They pick up the win. So I believe this goes to Bullock to start it off. So or hold it. No, I think actually it goes to MF for this one. So now that I corrected myself here, so because we didn't talk about that opening segment. That's right. We just opened in that first match. All right. So MF, you get this one here. women's tag team turmoil match. I know you're probably bumming about the outcome because I know how much you love Chance and Carter. I know you were probably hoping they were going to get the first shot, but no. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, they get the first shot, 11:55 total time.
Yeah, look, face team or face squad reigning champions, you got to get a heel squad in there. So no, I'm not too mad about it. Am I disappointed that happened? Yeah, but look, Kaden and Katana will get their time. You know, they're still a work in progress. The most established team that was there at the end was Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. So that, you know, it makes the logical sense that they're the ones to get it. But as far as how it's played out, yeah, I'm not gonna say it was the greatest thing in the world, but it was fine. But the matches were painless, very short, nothing that would have made us said, "Wow." Are we? Look, they deserve it. They deserve the opportunity. They deserve the shot. They deserve, you know, everything that happens. And congratulations, they get a shot at the titles. They're gonna go after the new champions, which is Raquel Rodriguez versus and Liv Morgan. We'll wait and see how that plays out down the line. But you know, relatively speaking, it was a fine match. It was a fine match. It could have been better in certain areas, but you know, we'll wait and see how it plays out. Gauntlet matches are hard to predict, though. They are hard to predict. They're hard to try to to lay out or whatever. Honestly, truthfully, I think the right team won it. I'll give this about maybe two and a quarter, 2.5. And I know I'm being a little generous because there was a lot of short matches. There was a lot of short battles. There wasn't really anything that would have made us jump out of our seats. And I hope that this is not a bad sign for the women's tag team division, because I'm starting to feel like it's starting to revert back to the old ways, to the old days of the matches not really meaning that much. And I hope I'm wrong about that, because these women deserve the opportunity. I just got a bad feeling that we're reverting back to an era that we should not be reverting to. Just my thoughts. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
What did you give it for the overall rating?
2.25, 2.5.
Yeah, I can only give it 1.5 to 2. I mean, because like you said, there were a lot of short matches in this gauntlet match. I mean, and look, I get you. You need a heel team in there, but two of the I'm gonna say it, and I don't care what they say. Two of the biggest loudmouth bitches in this industry, and Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, two women that like to whine and complain about that they're not getting everything that they wanted. I mean, is this the team you want challenging? No. I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I get you need a heel team in there, but these two, no, because you get the feeling that if they lose to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, you know those two are going to find some kind of way to whine and complain, saying, "Oh, it's a miscarriage of justice. We didn't get a fair." That's the feeling I'm getting with this. So if the outcome is what we expected, so 1.5 to 2, and like I said, sorry, can't stand these two. It's yours, Florio.
I'll meet you guys in the middle, 2 to 2.5. Turmoil matches are always kind of tricky. MF is absolutely correct in that sense. But this one did a good job of making Deville and Green look like the best challengers for the new champions. The bout did not have anything memorable until Katana Chance hit a Hurricane Rana to Chelsea Green while she was on Kaden Carter's shoulders. And Chelsea Green picked up the win to earn herself and Sonya Deville a future shot at the Women's Tag Team Championships. A couple of these teams were competing for the first time as partners, but at least WWE is making an effort to build out this division. Nikki Cross is such a great character, and it's a shame that WWE does not use her more often. And like I said, that Hurricanrana spot from Chance and Green was great. 2 to 2.5. I'll meet you guys in the middle for that one. So not much more to say. We move on now to a 6-person mixed tag team. Well, actually, there was another in-ring segment. Becky Lynch comes out, cuts a promo, and she called out Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark. And it didn't lead to anything, but it let us know the feud is continuing for now. But actually, it did confirm that next Monday night on Raw in Buffalo, that Becky Lynch and Zoe Stark will go one-on-one. Now we move on to the 6-person mixed tag team match. And then there was one other thing. Cody Rhodes then did a stage interview with Monday Night Raw's newest interviewer, Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond will now be on the Raw. Will now be doing the backstage interviews along with Byron Saxton. Kathy Kelly is now on Friday Night SmackDown along with Kayla Braxton. So if you didn't read that dirt sheet from last week,
and I'm happy about it. Thank you, WWE. Thank you, Papa H, for giving me two of the most loveliest ladies on WWE right now.
And I got Byron Saxton. Oh
yeah, sucks to be you right now, Florio. Good luck with that one.
But Jackie Redmond, you know Jackie Redmond, well known. She does. She's a host for the NHL Network, part of that NHL Now show that's on in the afternoons during hockey season. But you're gonna get a nice amount of her for right now. But once hockey season starts, she'll still fulfill those commitments. But Jackie Redmond did a brief little on the ramp interview with Cody Rhodes. Nothing to really speak of on that either, because of the fact that even though Cody was saying, yes, I'll fight Brock Lesnar. Yes, we know. But obviously some of that long-term booking. Now let's get into the 6-person mixed tag team match. The Viking Raiders and Valhalla going up against Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, and making her in-ring debut, Maxine Dupree, a.k.a. Sophia Cromwell. And the winners of the match, 7 minutes and 55 seconds. The Alpha Academy and Maxine Dupree. Maxine Dupree pinning Valhalla with a beautiful sunset flip. Michael Bullock, how about it? Her first official match, and Maxine Dupree scores the win for her team as she pins Valhalla. 7 minutes 55 seconds in this 6-person mixed tag.
Yeah, 2.5 stars. I mean, Maxine Dupree gets the. She does get the pin for the team. I mean, a surprise outcome here. I mean, I thought it would have been Chad Gable or Otis getting the pin, but Maxine Dupree. I mean, not bad for her first victory. So. Yeah, there's really nothing more to say, so it's yours, Florio.
Give it up. I mean, this feud has been better than it has any right being. And part of that is thanks to Maxine Dupree's comic timing matching up well with Otis and Chad Gable's. This match was never going to be a 5-star classic, but it was certainly fun for the live crowd, and that's the most important thing. And the crowd was going nuts for Alpha Academy and Maxine, and her caterpillar needs some work though. And you guys know how much I love me some Sophia Cromwell, Maxine Dupree, and I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard that this match was going down, I saw the outcome coming from a mile away. I actually had a feeling that Maxine was going to score the win for the Alpha Academy, and I'm not at all surprised that she did. And who knows? This is a young lady we might have to keep an eye on in the future. Maybe not sometime this year, but who knows? Maybe sometime next year we could be hearing a lot more about Maxine Dupree. You never know. I mean, stranger things have happened. I mean, look at Trish. I mean, Trish was eye candy when she first came in. They made her a wrestler, and look what happened with Trish. She became arguably the GOAT. I don't know if that's going to happen with Maxine Dupree, but you never know. Stranger things have happened, guys. So I'm just saying. Obviously, nothing's going to happen overnight. Nothing ever does. But at least you can enjoy this one for a night. Big win. Color me impressed. 2.5, 2 3/4. I'm right there with Bullock on this one. So MF, give it up for Maxine Dupree. Her first match, and she scores the win for her team. I love it.
Yeah, no, amazing. I could say 2.5 stars, no doubt about it. Great win for her, and like you said, the comedic timing of it, the layout, the way that the match went, and for the crowd to be behind Alpha Academy, well done. I thought it could have been better in certain areas, but it wasn't. But it was still a 2.5 star bout, and yeah, I mean, it did what it needed to do. So to me, they did pretty well with it. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And then there was a backstage moment, Jackie Redmond with Ricochet, and Ricochet called out Logan Paul. And next Monday night in Buffalo, Logan Paul and Ricochet face to face. Could this be the long-awaited and rumored Logan Paul Ricochet match that we've been wanting to see since that epic collision at the Royal Rumble? Very possible. Possibly SummerSlam, guys. That's very possible.
I'm kind of still holding out hope that there was another rumor about maybe Bad Bunny and that happening. So I kind of have a feeling like I kind of have a feeling like that might be more of a possibility. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Definitely. All right. This next match was the only match that was advertised ahead of time. Rhea Ripley defending the Women's World Championship against Natalya. The winner of the match, 12 minutes and 45 seconds, and still the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley. What a match. I mean, yeah, the previous few times that they've gotten together, it was nothing. I mean, we all remember what happened in Saudi Arabia.
Why did we get something like this at Night of Champions?
Good question. But we got it here tonight.
Yeah, somebody at WWE owes us an explanation for that. I mean, why couldn't we get a match like that at Night of Champions?
Well, good question. But
because it was simple. You wanted it to make Rhea Ripley a dominating champion. And on top of that, because of the fact that the Saudis are not as very welcoming to the women that they are to the men, get it short, get it sweet, get them out of there. This is why this match was more prevalent than the one in Saudi. Just to answer your question there, Michael Bullock.
There you go. So, but anyways, great matchup here. 3.5 stars. They kept up the physicality, and this quickly turned into a fight. Ripley turned things around and started dominating the veteran once she regained her bearings. Both of these women pride themselves on their talent and power, so this was a very solid match that showed off both of their numerous strengths. They, without a doubt, shattered the Night of Champions encounter with this one. Ripley, and then after the match was over, Rhea Ripley, attacked, went after Natalya, but Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez came out and made the save. Yay. Before this, Natalya received some world record certificates from Guinness Book of Records during Money in the Bank. They did not make a big enough deal out of that on WWE programming. Whenever Rhea Ripley is thrown into something like the steel steps or a table, she always throws her whole body into it. And Rhea Ripley doing the DX crotch chop is going to create so many memes and GIFs online. But in all seriousness, fantastic matchup. This was the matchup that we have been dying to see between two great workers, and we finally got it here tonight. You could certainly make an argument for Fight of the Night honors here if you wanted to. I would not be mad at you if you did. 3.5 stars. Great matchup. Outcome never in doubt, but I'm glad we finally got the competitive match that we knew these two were capable of giving us. So 3.5 stars. MF, Rhea Ripley retaining 12:45. I thought we were going to be in for another fight, but I was like, yes, finally, competitive match. About damn time.
And the thing is that the body of work of Natalya, the body of work of Rhea Ripley, we know these two can really give us something if you give them the right time, the ample opportunity, and everything else. I wonder if TJ, her husband, was the one that was the producer of this match. Because normally he produces a lot of the women's matches. I'm wondering if he got his hands on this match by saying, all right, TJ, this is your match. Make it something special. Knowing what Natalya brings to the table, what Rhea brings to the table, I think he orchestrated it, gave us something wicked special. I want to know who the producer for this fight was. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see TJ Wilson's name on this. Because this has his fingerprints all over this. And for once, if this was legitimately TJ, like we know that Michael Hayes has been the producer for the Bloodline, I think we got to sell us. This was special. This was without a doubt. You can even make an argument for Fight of the Night because that's how good this was. And I really believe that he brought a niche to this matchup that was sorely lacking. And yes, I am going to call that out because of the fact that, first off, at the time, they didn't get ample story time or story level. And two, like I said, Saudi Arabia has been very notorious for not being very friendly when it comes in their country. Now, I don't want to go geopolitical. We don't need to go geopolitical here. But you know the status quo. You know there's a lot of stuff. You want to find political stuff, you want to go somewhere else with that. What we care about is the wrestling. That's why I believe they went as short as they did. Tonight, you can tell they absolutely, positively gave us something better. For Natalya, yes, 6 Guinness records, most matches in WWE history, most female wins in WWE history, more combined time of her matches that she's been in. It's more than any other woman in WWE history. Most matches on Monday Night Raw, most matches on SmackDown. So there is enough. And I think most time, like most combined time on television, I think is also one other record I think she got. I know those were like the 6 that she got, the 6 Guinness records that she just got held. So, all in all, they could have showcased it. They could have talked about it, but they did that storyline once before. Remember, that was with the Aaliyah. And when Aaliyah got the quickest pin in WWE history. So you could have gone there, fine, no problem. But for her to be that great, that amazing. Now I know there was one person, and oddly enough, it's not who we're thinking of. But one person's like, you know what? I like Natalya. I just don't like the Heart Foundation gimmick. I don't like her being the queen of the black hearts. I think it's time that they repackage her in a different way. That she doesn't need the Heart legacy. That, she doesn't need the Heart legacy or anything of that. The mentions of, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, Bret Hart, the Hart Foundation. And somebody really, really, really went after it and went after her, saying that she needs a whole repackage. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Natalya is through
What a
and
stupid
through
idiot that
a
person is.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
she carries that legacy of her father. She carries that legacy of that Hart dynasty. I mean,
yeah.
it's part of that legacy. And for that person to come out, say, oh, they need to repackage her, you know what? You can go screw yourself. If you don't like what you see, you know what? Don't watch it.
So, and that was the thing. When I read that, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I was like, don't get me wrong. I mean, what she has done and the body of work and the lineage of that Hart family, I think she's one of the few that has every right to embrace the Hart Foundation. She's one of the few that could. You know, we could talk about David Hart Smith, the British Bulldog, the son of the British Bulldog. He's got every right to that Hart legacy. So, and of course,
yeah, and let's not forget another thing. Remember the night of SummerSlam? I think it was 2018. I think it was.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, when she. I mean, we all thought that she wasn't going to be scheduled to be at SummerSlam. She showed up, and she wore the same Hart Foundation jacket that her father would wear.
Yeah,
her father. I mean, and to see the crowd give her that ovation that night just for showing up. And you want to know why? Because that's what her father would have wanted her to do, to show up that night. And if you can't appreciate something like that, then you're not a true wrestling fan. And if I know Anthony Florio, because this Anthony Florio is a hard follower for a long time. And for I'm sure when he heard something like that, I'm sure he would like to go 1997 Bret Hart on that jabroni.
And then some.
And then some. Yeah. And oddly enough, even Derek Ferrera, and I know we're not supposed to mention him by name, whatever, but I'll mention him. I know he would defend Natalya on this. Now, I know there's a few not so great moments in women's wrestling, and obviously we will definitely, I know he criticized WWE with some of the women's stuff, and valid, no doubts. And I know this would be one of those things that I know he would probably say, wait a minute, no. I know he would probably say, there's certain parts or certain things that is off limits, but that value, what this guy brought to the table, I don't think even Ferrera would even agree with this. So I know Ferrera would be like, what this guy said is out of bounds, and I hope and wholeheartedly hope that he does, repudiate that comment. But what Natalya has been is a workhorse. What she has been is, yes, she is the mama bear. She's the veteran. She is everything that a lot of people was hoping that she has become. Has her career been great? Yeah, in certain areas, she's been amazing. I've enjoyed it. I like it. I like what she did. And even tonight, Rhea Ripley is without a doubt the biggest star in WWE right now. The push that she's been getting, everything that she's been doing, this is what we've been waiting for. And the thing is, the more better matches she gets, the more she validates the Women's World Championship. And that's the thing. Now you got a new belt. This Women's World title, or the World Women's Championship that they're referring this as, it needs to be a workhorse title. It needs to be relevant to the moment. You give us great matches, you elevate the title. Just like how Gunther has elevated the Intercontinental Championship, just as how Seth freaking Rollins has elevated the World Heavyweight title. Yes, I'll even admit it. Austin Theory, in a way, has elevated the United States Heavyweight Championship. As long as you keep giving us consistent matches, good title defenses, that's what makes the company better. That's what makes the show better. At the end of the day, this was a fight of the night level match. Nothing more to say. I believe it goes to Bullock, or did Bullock lead off? Or have you even spoke? I think it goes to you, Mikey.
I didn't even talk about. Yeah, I didn't even go yet. So, 3.5 stars. I mean, I think you can definitely say this was the fight of the night. I mean, this was a great match. I definitely enjoyed it, and yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much touched on everything on it. So let's move right along, Florio.
All right, and we move on to then we had Matt Riddle versus Giovanni Vinci of Imperium. Matt Riddle wins the match 1 minute and 40 seconds. Unfortunately, this is going to be the worst fight of the night here, but Drew McIntyre showed up again, and we're definitely looking at McIntyre and Riddle going up against Imperium. Maybe if they find another partner, maybe they can have a 6-man down the road. But we know what the ultimate end game is for this, and you remember MF and I talked about this in great detail on Saturday night during our Money in the Bank and Collision show. This is leading to McIntyre and Gunther for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. And once that match gets made official, and you know it will go down as one of the greatest Intercontinental matches in SummerSlam history, if not the greatest. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But main event of the evening, Seth freaking Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio, non-title match. And this one was thrown away. Just give me one moment here. Seth freaking Rollins wins the match via disqualification, even 10 minutes. And they were teasing. They were going for the tease of the cash in. But Finn Balor put an end to all of this. So with all that, MF, what do we make of all this? The match gets Rollins wins by disqualification, 10 minutes. It looked like Priest was ready to cash in, but Finn Balor says, "Not on my watch, homie."
Yeah, you want to talk? And the thing was, Dom was encouraging Damian to do it. Cash in. This is your moment. And it looked like it was going to happen, and Balor jumped Seth, and the guys are like getting into each other's faces. That is going to prevent Damian from getting the opportunity at the title. Finn Balor is going to be the foil, and this might lead to this is already leading to problems. You can tell because then you saw Dom trying to get back to try to help out, to try to get at Seth, and Seth dropped that pedigree on Dom and got out of there. So the two guys are complaining and bickering at each other. It's going to come. There is dissension among the ranks of the Judgment Day, and I am for it, man. I'm intrigued now. This is why it was smart for Damian Priest to win the Money in the Bank. Now it solidifies it. Do you think we would get this kind of payoff if LA Knight won it? No. And here's the thing. I get it. A lot of people wanted LA Knight to win. There's a lot of people that is harping that LA Knight should have won Money in the Bank. You know what? I'm going to say this. You keep that momentum going. You keep that excitement up. LA Knight wins the Royal Rumble in January. Just keep that in mind. Now, I know a lot of people is going to say, oh, but they're doing Cody and Roman for the main event for WrestleMania. Yeah, but there's still a World Heavyweight title out there. There's still a championship that could be won. And why not? Why don't we get LA Knight World Heavyweight Champion? Let him dump Seth Rollins. Let him bring the World Heavyweight title to SmackDown because by all attempted purposes and by all means, it looks like the WWE Championship probably goes to Cody Rhodes. He brings that bad boy to Monday Night Raw. We do a belt swap. World Heavyweight title on SmackDown, WWE Championship on Monday Night Raw. And yes, you did it, and you heard me right. I didn't say Universal title because when Roman loses that belt, the Universal title goes bye-bye. The Universal title gets retired. Roman is the final Universal Champion ever. The minute that belt, the minute whoever wins that title, they become the undisputed WWE champion. They retired the black belt. It's that gold belt that Roman got as a memento. No, actually, nay, I stand corrected. The traditional WWE championship goes to whoever gets the belt. That's the thing. That's the layout. That's what we're getting. So that's going to be the way it's going to go. More than anything else. Seth is a great World Heavyweight Champion. I like the way that it's going. It's going to be very interesting because of the way that the storyline has been played out. I got nothing more to say. This was about a 3-star fight. We lost Michael Bullock. Oh, nope. Stand corrected. We got Michael Bullock back. Welcome back. Welcome back, Nomar. It's yours.
What did you give the main event?
3.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an even 3 as well. And yeah, like you said, Fletch, and you make some valid points. I mean, would they have done this if LA Knight had won it? No. And I think Damian Priest winning this was the right call. And now you're starting to see that dissension among the Judgment Day because Damian looked like was going to cash in on Seth freaking Rollins, and then Finn Balor ends up costing him the opportunity because of Finn Balor's obsession with Seth freaking Rollins. And could that be what ends the Judgment Day? We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, a lot of things coming out of this one, so it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3 stars for the effort. Main event was a decent match, but it came nowhere near being the best thing on the card. Now that the seeds have been planted, Damian Priest and Finn Balor will likely end up in a feud sooner than some may have expected. The crowd continued to sing Seth Rollins' song well into the match and immediately changed to an anti-Dom chant. The announcers almost went out of their way to ignore Rollins and Mysterio's previous history, and Dom has made some improvements, especially when it comes to his selling. Now, previous history, we all remember 3 years ago, 2020, SummerSlam, Dominic Mysterio's first match, it was against Seth Rollins in that hardcore match. Roles were different. Seth freaking Rollins was the heel. Dominic Mysterio was the babyface. Of course, that's when he and Ray were, father and son and buddy and all that. Not anymore, obviously, but now we come full circle. 3 years later, Dom's the heel, and Seth is the babyface here. So yeah, solid 3 for this, and great points by all involved here. So all right, as far as we are awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. We lost him again, so see if we get him back here and and we'll have him start off on our overall review. But yeah, Rollins and Mysterio, we all remember, had that incredible match at SummerSlam 2020 that, in many people's eyes, was the fight of the night that night, and in the Thunderdome. And wow, 3 years later, I mean, who would have thought that, we would go full circle? We would go from Seth being the dastardly heel, Dominic being the underdog babyface, and now Seth freaking Rollins, who is one of, if not one of the most over baby faces in the company. So, all right, we got Michael Bullock back in. So Michael Bullock, let's get it to you now for our overall review here. Monday Night Raw, the fallout from Money in the Bank in Baltimore tonight, as we officially kickstart the road to the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. Michael Bullock, we started with you for the overall review here.
All right, yeah. I thought it was a good show. I mean, you did have like one bad match. I mean, you're starting to see the start of that build towards the SummerSlam here, and yeah. So if I'm going to give it a rating, I'm going to give it about maybe 6.5. It's a 6.5 to 7 on this. So it's yours, Florio.
Tonight's show had to do things. It needed to break down what happened at Money in the Bank, and it also needed to begin the build-up for SummerSlam. It did both of those things pretty well, but it had some weak points. The 6-person mixed tag match was fun, but the best thing we saw all night was the Women's World Championship match between Natalya and Rhea Ripley. The Boat looked as good in the ring as she has in a long time, but this is Rhea Ripley's time, and Natty knew that, so she did a good job making the champion look strong. Setting up another match between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar was a good way to start the show. As a whole, it wasn't a bad episode by any means. It had some flaws, but there was more to like than dislike on this week's episode. Solid 7 for me. So with that, MF, take it home for the overall review, and then we'll get into my latest Tony's take here.
7 out of 10. I think it could have been a little better in certain areas, but it did serve its purpose. Like you said, the women's match really stood out, and that was ultimately the best thing that happened on the show tonight. So really nothing more to say. Anthony, Tony's take is yours.
All right, Tony's take time, and you know how we always do it. Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up, and we started off with the Impact Wrestling review here, and all right, and Impact Wrestling starts it off, and it emanated from Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia, and we started it off with an X Division Championship match, the return match from Against All Odds, Chris Sabin defending the title against the challenger and former champion Trey Miguel. And Chris Sabin wins the match by disqualification, 9.5 minutes. Zachary Wentz, formerly Nash Carter, guys. He's back in Impact Wrestling. And the Rascals, minus Wes Lee, of course. Wes Lee is killing it as the North American champion in NXT right now. So you got Miguel and Wentz back together. Oh, boy. Ooh. 3.25. I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'll take this over Miguel losing clean again. He had a nice title run, but that doesn't mean you have to beat him into the ground after he loses. The Rascals are at least 2/3 of them against the Motor City Machine Guns. Could be worth seeing, and it is definitely a change of pace. So well done on a surprise. There's going to be some baggage with Wentz, obviously, but some time might have cooled some of it off in a bit. So 3.25. Then we had Trinity going up against Jay Vidal. Trinity wins the match, 5 minutes, 11 seconds. 2.5. Trinity gets to beat up a member of Giselle Shaw's team before her big showdown with Deonna Purrazzo. So the logic makes sense. At the same time, Shaw winning the title in Australia to make the Slammiversary match a triple threat would not stun me either. It may not be the best idea, but it could go in that direction. It could. Even though I honestly want to see Purrazzo and Trinity one-on-one. That's what I want, but we'll see. Leo Rush is in Impact Wrestling now. He went up against Jack Price, and Leo Rush wins in 3:37, 1.5. If you like the standard Leo Rush match, you'll like this one. It was his normal stuff, the crazy speed and the kicks, plus the good-looking frog splash for the finish. The athleticism has never been an issue for Rush, but he has to actually stay somewhere, or none of what he can do matters. Then we had Kylan King against Masha Slamovich. Masha Slamovich wins it in 8:10, 2.5, 2 3/4. Those two beat the fire out of each other, and it was a rather fun match as a result. Sometimes you need this kind of a match, and it worked well here. You might as well set up the title match at Slammiversary from here, mainly as it isn't like there are any other viable challenges for the titles at the moment. And then we had the closing segment. Then we had a Scott D'Amore video package that was very well done. Then you had Kenny King against Yuya Uemura. Kenny King wins it in 12 minutes and 10 seconds. 3 1/4, 3.5. Exactly what you would expect from a Uemura match, as he wrestles well and fights hard but can't get a win that matters in the slightest. He almost has to be ready to end his excursion, because seeing him lose over and over can get more than a bit frustrating. King seems primed for the digital media title shot, though, and a win like this is a good way to go. And then we had the closing segment with Nick Aldis and Alex Shelley. 7.5 out of 10. It was exactly what I was expecting from Impact these days. Good action, stories being advanced, but most importantly of all, logic. There's a clear path with those stories, and while there's some surprises, they don't feel so completely out of left field that you're left wondering if they make sense. Show flows nicely, and it makes things that much easier to watch. And another good show here, and you can see most of the Slammiversary card already. So with that, let's set the table for this upcoming week's edition of Impact Wrestling that will be going down Thursday night over on Access TV, as always. And only 2 matches announced. We will see Frankie Kazarian go one-on-one with Eddie Edwards, and Jonathan Gresham goes one-on-one with Angels of the Design. So that takes place Thursday night. So one last order of business, and that, of course, is NXT Level Up. And then we'll put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw here. So just, all right. Blair Davenport went up against Kaylani Jordan, and Blair Davenport wins it 5 minutes and 24 seconds. Not much to this one, as even the crowd was out of it. Davenport winning, obviously the right call. Should have been a little more dominant. I can only give it 3/4 of a star. Joe Coffey of the Gallus Boys. He went up against Miles Bourne. Joe Coffey wins the match, 6 minutes, 41 seconds. The mat wrestling stuff was great. As we know, Bourne has an amateur background, and it already shows up in his matches. Bourne isn't ready for someone like Coffey, so the result wasn't surprising. Nice little match where they hit everything well, 2 stars. And that was it. With only 2 matches, the show clocked in at around 20 minutes. It was a breeze to watch. Main event was solid, and that's about all there was to the show. I assume maybe a match was cut, or if we are going back to just 2 matches, perhaps give them more time or do some angle advancement. 5 out of 10 for that. So it was a 5 out of 10. So with that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. I want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. MF, I'm sure it's the same start time for the show as usual, I'm sure. So with that, we'll next be with you Wednesday night over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, another edition of Wednesday Night Madness. Yes, MF? Okay. I'm guessing it's the same time for the shows as usual. So, but 10:30 Wednesday night, it will be Wednesday Night Madness, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher over on his channel, Brace Fan 95, as we will have NXT and AEW Dynamite as always. Thursday night, 10:30, right here on the Tone 25, TXN Sports World. I got the docket here. This is how this is what we'll have for the docket this week. Big show here. We'll start it off with I'm going to do things differently. We're going to start it off with the USFL Championship. The USFL Championship game went down this past Saturday night. And then from there, we will have NBA free agency, NHL free agency, and then the NHL awards were handed out. The NHL schedule came out. And then we will close the show. MF will close the show with his Big 3 report. So that all goes down for this Thursday night. I know there's a lot of things that need to be covered, but we'll get in. I know the All-Star rosters are coming out, and the Home Run Derby's coming out, so we'll get into that on Thursday night, and then Saturday night, of course, 10:30 MF's channel, Braceway 95. Saturday night, Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night, SmackDown. Oh, by the way, from Madison Square Garden. Hello, Madison Square Garden. And then from there, AEW Collision. So, and then next week, do it all again. And special Tony's Take next week. I am going to preview one of Impact Wrestling's biggest events of the year, Slammiversary. The Slammiversary preview show will be next Monday night right here. So you don't want to miss that, in addition to our Raw review, as Raw comes to us from Buffalo. Okay. So with that puts the bow on this. So until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, over on MX channel, Braceway 95, it's Anthony Floyo here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course, in spirit, always and forever, the First Lady, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed 4th of July. Don't do anything idiotic. That's all I'm saying. Keep it safe, please. That's all I'm asking. So that's it for that. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamy.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye. Same times. Okay.